Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Gabe DeSanto, president of OHSCA, and I'm glad that you're able to join us today. We have a great CPC nominee for Thornhill joining us today, Melissa Lantsman. Melissa is a well-known communications and public relations expert in our Canadian Conservative world. She worked on numerous CPC campaigns under Stephen Harper and on the Ontario PC campaign for Doug Ford. She also served as Director of Communications for Canada's Ministers of Finance, Foreign Affairs from 2007 to 2015. She's had many experiences working in the media, having her own radio show, and writing articles for many newspapers. And now she wants to be the next MP for Thornhill. Welcome, Melissa, to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We're glad to have you here today, and we're really excited to have you. We have a bunch of great candidates joining us, and you're another great candidate that the people of Thornhill and the people of Canada should really start to know, because they'd like to see you run in the next election. So we are glad to have you here today, and we always like to start off the interview with a question and answer session, and all these questions are asked by the high school members of our group. So question one is, what have you learned from your experiences in previous political campaigns that you can use to win in Thornhill?
Well, Gabe, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm not going to be the only one that tells you this, but campaigns matter. And using campaigns and pandemics matter even more. So we've never had a situation where it wasn't okay to go door to door or have events. So I think the one thing that I've learned is that there are many, many ways to reach people right in their own homes. And I think that some of those technologies are never going to leave again. And I think the campaigns are going to look really, really different going forward. So that's the thing that I learned. It was the biggest learning.
That's a thing to remember, because I mean, if we have a election soon, probably, whether it's after the budget in June or whatever, soon, this spring or this fall or whenever they decide to call the election, it's definitely coming. It's good to know how we are going to go forward, and we have to think up the new ideas. And I think what you were saying is true. Just going forward, it's a learning curve, I think.
Absolutely. And we might not have the big campaign rallies, and we might not have the traditional like leaders tour with a plane, and we might not have a war room, which is kind of the central point of the campaign with 100 people in it. So we're going to have to figure it out, and we're going to have to figure it out quickly.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you have many experiences working in the war rooms, and I'm sure you've been to those big rallies where the leader comes to the old restaurant that the candidate is using as a campaign office, and then hundreds and hundreds of people from the community join around in a parking lot and listen to the possible future prime minister. And it's really going to be different, and I'm sure that we can learn and go forward and learn how to do it differently. So question two is, since you're running in the Greater Toronto area, what do you think needs to be done in order to turn the GTA blue?
It's the part of the country that swings, and it's the part of the country that needs to swing in order for Aaron O'Toole to become prime minister. And there's no secrets about that. And while Thornhill has had a stellar MP for 12 years, it's considered a conservative stronghold. There are just a sea of red. There's a sea of red around, and all of those ridings around us are swing ridings. And if we put forward a vision, and if we invite more people into our Conservative Party, people that look like me, people that look like you, people that look like Julius, who you interviewed earlier this month, if everybody sees themselves in the Conservative Party, the sky's the limit. And we know that. We know that from 2011.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, our Conservative Party is very unique party because we can invite everybody, and we can see that everybody has some sort of conservative value, whether they know it or not. And a lot of immigrants have conservative values, and they may not know it, but they are welcome in the Conservative Party. And like Julius said, he's running because when he came to Canada, he said he had $65 or something in his wallet, and he came and he built his life in Canada, and so many more people are building their lives in Canada, and we can show them that they can come to our party, like Aaron O'Toole said in his first speech as leader in the House, and at the leadership convention, he talked about it, and he said everybody's welcome in the party. And I think that going forward, if we show people that our party is for everybody, we can get Toronto and the people of Toronto to join us, and the people of Ottawa, where Ottawa is pretty much all Liberal except for the great Pierre Poilievre, but he's not going to lose a seat. But everybody else, Ottawa's red, Toronto's basically red, Vancouver is mixed. Every other big city, we can all turn it blue in like 2011, like you said.
Absolutely. It starts with, it starts with the Ontario High School Conservatives. When you get to university, it continues with our university clubs. It continues with New Canadians, with more young people, with more women. We've got to be able to talk about conservative values in a way that's more welcoming and in a way that's more accessible to people. And they've got to understand that we have a vision for the future of this country, and it is based on values, and it is from a party where no matter what you believe, you can fight it out in our party, and you can fight it out on the floor of the House of Commons, and not have sort of backroom cabinet deals or kick it to the courts. That's the party that we are, and I think that's the party that we need to welcome more people in.
Well, yeah, for sure. Our party's so unique because we have so many different branches of conservatives. We have the social conservatives, the fiscal conservatives, all the different conservatives that come together as one party, and that we can all join together. And like you said, go to the House of Commons and represent ourselves. And that's a great thing because as we see with the current government, it's all very close. They're all together, and like they all do their own thing, and they, like you said, the backroom deals and all that. The Trudeau government is not a government that is quite how do you say this nicely? One that represents the people for what they believe in. And I think that our party is that party that can represent the people, and great candidates like yourself and all the different candidates that are joining us in our party can represent people. What mistakes do you think the CPC made in the previous election, and how do you think we can change it to win this election?
So as much as I don't really want to rehash history, because I think the important part of politics is to look forward. We're in a really different world today than we were in even 2017, and certainly since 2011, and even since 2006. And as demographics change, as the issues change, our values don't. And I think that we're right on policy. Sometimes where I think we miss the mark is message and tone. Everybody knows that we're really good managers of the economy. Everyone knows that we count all of the dollars and cents, and we make the story about opportunity and what it means to be a Canadian. Where sometimes I think we miss the mark is that we cede a lot of the communications territory around issues that we don't want to talk about. Like, I'll give you an example. I'm not afraid to talk about the environment. And I don't think that there's any conservative that doesn't want clean water, cleaner air, more parks. There's just a conservative way of getting there. And I don't think that taxes will change the weather, but it's not enough to say that taxes are bad. We've got to put a vision forward. We've got to have a plan that's going to get us to where Canadians want us to be.
Well, that's something really good to remember, because as we see, I think what's starting to happen is you're seeing Aaron O'Toole keep our traditionally conservative voters, but he's also starting to draw in the traditionally liberal or NDP voters and I think that if he does that and we do that, we can start to put together a policy that will attract them as well as traditional conservatives, and we can bring people in. And like you said, the environment's a very important thing, and it's our world. Basically, our world is the one that we have, and we need to, a tax won't help it. A carbon tax that keeps skyrocketing won't make us stop driving gas vehicles. We're still a ways away from changing all our vehicles into electric vehicles, or so so forth, or whatever different changes they hope that it'll change, but it's not. And I think what you said is right. We need to bring forward more policy that will be clear and show that our party can be one for all.
Absolutely. You're right.
I'm going to give a little background on this. So in the past couple of years, especially, we've been starting to see a lot of cancel culture in our world. And it's a little bit of a touchy subject, but not too much. And a lot of people feel that as soon as somebody says something, they can cancel them. So what is your opinions on cancel culture as we see it today? And how can we recover from the repercussions it brings to society in the future?
Well, look, I think as conservatives and everybody in the club and everybody watching will likely agree that upholding free speech and the ability to have the conversation, no matter how difficult that conversation is, and no matter how unpopular it might seem in today's in today's media landscape, that has to be the fundamental thing that's protected. We have seen a world that if you say something that, let's go back to the environment, you're a climate change denier. Or if you don't like a policy brought forward by a certain ethnic group, you're a racist. Or we've made, pariahs out of religious leaders. And the Conservative Party is the only party that welcomes a diversity of opinions. And I think that it's incumbent on us to continue talking about this and to make sure that protecting it is one of our top priorities, because a country without free speech, and those conversations is not a country that we want to be part of going in the future, going forward.
Well, that's a good thing to, think of, because free speech it's kind of not so free anymore. We're starting to see a lot of, as soon as you, like you said, as soon as you say something wrong, you're called this, that, and the other thing, and you should deserve to be fired or kicked off of whatever thing or silenced. And I think that as conservatives, we can remember that there's more to life than dissecting every single little word that people say. Sometimes people take things out of context, and as the Conservative Party, we need to uphold free speech. People need to know that Canada is a country of diversity, and everybody's opinion matters, no matter what race they are, what religion they are, where they stand on political issues, whether they're on the left or the right or the center. Everybody deserves a voice, and they shouldn't face repercussions for saying something because people don't agree with it. And I think that's where cancel culture has gone. People don't agree with what you say, and all of a sudden they cancel you. Yes, I think that at the beginning it was an okay tool, because it got people to really start to realize who deserves to be not canceled, but given being accounted for. And I think accountability is a big thing that we need to remember from the original movement, but the movement has gone too far, and they're canceling everybody that they don't agree with.
Absolutely, and Gabe, I got to tell you that it happens far more on the right side of the spectrum than on any other side. And just like everything else, if we call it out, if we're vigilant about it, and we call it out, and we don't stand for that kind of behavior, whether it's by frankly just folks on social media or by media organizations. That's not the Canada that we envision, and it's not the Canada that my parents came here as immigrants. They didn't come here to be silenced. They left the regime that they left because of that.
Well, yeah, that's something that a lot of people, Canada is a country of a lot of different people that came from their different backgrounds to come and join Canada and keep their backgrounds while also starting a new way of life for the new country or the new opportunities. And we need to remember that our country is a free country. We are the true north, strong and free, very cliche, as many people say that, but it isn't our national anthem. So remember that. And that, yeah, we are a free country, and we need to remember that and uphold that. So I like to do a little friendly chat, friendly wrap up. Well, not wrap up yet, but a nice little talk at the end. So we understand that you got involved in politics at a quite an early age. So, what do you think that young high school conservatives can do to get more politically active?
So first of all, I think you're miles ahead because I also got involved in high school, but there was no high school conservative club. I kind of had to find my way. I started understanding that maybe that I didn't see the world the same way that my teacher, my civics teacher in grade 9 saw the world. So I started to look for other avenues. And the first thing I did and the first thing that I always suggest is you walk into a campaign office, and it doesn't matter where it is or what level of government. Say, what can I do to help? You'll figure out that there is a group of like-minded people that live, that nearby that want to make this country a better place, and you kind of find your way by doing. So it's, you can read all of the stuff coming out of the parliamentary press gallery where you are in Ottawa, and you can spend the day on Twitter or Facebook having political fights. But the best way to get involved is to walk into that campaign office. What can I do to help? And it could be anything from stuffing envelopes to lawn signs to campaign strategy, and you figure out what you're good at and you keep going. And then the great thing about politics and the great thing about our movement is that the sky is the limit. It doesn't, you're not going to, if you don't like stuffing envelopes, you're not going to do it forever. You might do it when you come in there. And I think one of the things, and I will say this, that our party and our movement, the conservative movement, can be doing better is that we can be training a younger generation of political operators in a program where you start in high school, you continue in university. Maybe there's we do have a CPC internship on the Hill where you can sort of get your feet wet on the Parliament side. But if we thought about this in order to create a place where more conservatives can learn the trade, I think we would be better off for a long time.
Yeah, I think that as our group, we started back in September, October, and we created this group for the 14 to 18-year-olds, the high school students. We're young enough to vote in the leadership. We're young enough to join our EDAs and bring forward our voice to our local members, but we can't vote in federal elections or provincial elections yet. And I think that if we start early enough, we can start to get our voices heard and be seen as the next generation of strong leaders. And I mean, there's a lot of young people that they say they have the values of a left-wing party or whatever, but in reality, they actually are quite conservative, but they never know that because our world is starting. I mean, a lot of social issues are not necessarily biased, but a lot of the members in the social issues are on the left, and people don't understand that there's two sides to everything, and that they can be conservatives and an environmentalist, or they can be conservatives and a social justice warrior. They can be all these things and still be a conservative. And I think that's what our group is trying to do. We're trying to bring in people, show them that there is a place for them in the Conservative Party of Canada, and from the bright young age of a early grade 9 student, they can join us and join our movement, and just that way when it's time to vote in federal elections at the age of 18 or 19, then they're able to have a background of knowledge and work on the campaigns. And nothing says you can't work on a campaign in the next couple months whenever there may be an election, or year, whenever there's an election. I'm sure every candidate wants volunteers. The more the merrier, I've heard.
For sure. I'm gonna do even one better. If there's anybody watching right now that wants to get involved in the end of a nomination, and the interesting part of this is that you can be anywhere. You can be anywhere in the country. You can be in Ottawa. You don't have to be in Thornhill. The pandemic has made it so we are all virtual. So if you want to see what the end of a nomination looks like, because it's very different than a traditional writ period campaign, come and join me. Gabe will give you my website at the end of this, but it's melissalantsman.ca. Just send us a note and see if you can get involved in the last couple weeks.
We'll put it down in the description when on this this YouTube video. We'll put it in the description right below our caption. You can click on that website and you can go to Melissa's page and see all everything about her and her campaign. And that's the great thing about the pandemic. You can be in New Brunswick and help out a candidate out in Saskatchewan or something like that. You can get in touch with a bunch of people. Just send a quick email and get in touch with the great MPs and candidates and MPPs and MLAs and everybody, every conservative across the country. You can get involved and start to learn more about how to get involved. So thank you, Melissa, for your time today. I can't believe that it's gone by so quickly. Do you have anything else, any final pieces of advice to say to the young people, and anything that they should remember going forward, or anything else that they should know going forward? Any pieces of advice?
You know, I take my hat off to you for for this club, for this initiative. To introduce, high school students who find themselves on the conservative side of the spectrum, and introducing them to all kinds of candidates across the country. So kudos to what you guys are doing, because it's important. And the best decisions are made when we have a diversity of opinions around the table. That works in business and it works in politics. So I'm so happy to be a part of this, and I would be grateful for your help. And I want to hear your voice in the party going forward. I started when I was 14 years old. I've made some of my best friends in politics, and I've made quasi a career out of it. And I've never had a better experience, and I've never learned more. So if you're thinking about it, come on board.
Just if you think you want to do it, get involved. Maybe it may not be for you, but at least it's a good learning experience. And I'm sure many people like Melissa and the other great candidates in your community would love to have your help and to see you on their team. They'd love to have a high school kid, so that they can know that they have support from all sides of age groups and social groups and all that. They'd love to have you. And I'm sure, like I said before, the more the merrier, and Melissa can attest to that. And we really thank you for giving such great advice and for all the great answers that you gave today. So that is it. We hope you enjoyed today's interview. You can look for more interviews and videos coming soon on our YouTube page. You can subscribe below. Make sure to follow our Twitter and Instagram accounts at Ontario OHSCA, so you can learn more about our group. You can see new things. We have a lot of great content coming as the election comes. As time goes on, we're going to be releasing a lot more content. You can look at our website at www.ontariohsconservatives.org. That's your one-stop shop to see everything that we are doing. It has our links, it has everything. And make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and to click the notification bell so you never miss a video. We're going to do a lot more soon. Great interviews like this, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you, Melissa.
Thanks for having me.